MG Rob back with you. Apparently, you guys are enjoying Project Ginsu. So today, we're going to do more Project Ginsu. Let's get going. Alright, so last time on Project Ginsu, I cut all the inner panel out of here, or the strip that was left from widening it. So now I'm making a new piece to put back in place. Alright, so I'm making this piece to go back in there to fill in where I widened the car. So I took a piece of metal, cut it to the right width, and put in about a 45-degree bend. And what I ended up doing was, I put it in the shrinker and I shrunk it along here to get it to curve a little bit this way. And of course, once it curves this way, it's going to curve this way as well. So then I put it in the stretcher and stretched this edge to get it flat again. And just worked that until I had a slight bow in this here to fit the A-post. And then I shrunk this around to pull that around at the bottom, and then I had to stretch this here to flatten it back out. I'm at the point where I'm doing final trimming to get it to fit in there. A lot of times when I'm working on something like this, like in this case, I didn't remember exactly how I did the other side. So I was really trying to work it out. And when I'm trying to work something out, I tend to like to just put the radio on and get to work. Which of course, for YouTube, we're not allowed to have the radio on. So I tend to not film that part. But I got it this far along. So I'm doing final trimming to get this edge to fit here so I can weld it. So it's just a matter of just putting it in, trimming a little bit, taking it out, putting it in, taking out, putting it in, until you get it looking good all the way down to where you have preferably little to no gap at all through here. And even as you can get it. But slight variations in the gap I can work with. And then what I'll do is I'll plug weld through here. I'll punch holes through here and plug weld this in, except for where I accidentally drilled too far. Then I'll plug that one through from this side. I'll mark it on the here so I don't punch it. So all I got to do, I got it all fitted down to here. Just got to finish fitting down through here. Just decide how much I got to cut off here to get all this to fit like I want it to. Now the hard part about this is you can't just hold it up there. You really do have to clamp it in every single time, because clamping it is what pulls and holds everything the way it needs to be held, so that you know what needs to be done down here. Now here I'll have to actually twist this a little bit yet, and maybe bend this, roll this edge over yet. But I'll keep fitting and we'll see what we end up with. Alright, so I got this thing, I believe, close enough. I rolled this edge over just a little bit. I'll have to work it as I'm tacking it to get it to actually line up here. I'll have to file this off a little bit first with a file before I weld it in, because there's some burrs on there. So this one spot here where I drilled too far, I'll go ahead and drill it out. And then I will mark that. I can find my marker. I will mark that here. Say that's where I don't want to punch holes in this for plug welding. Alright, so I got this little punch here. Now you can buy these things, you can buy cheap ones at Harbor Freight, places like that. But this one's an actual Whitney, so it's a good quality one. So we'll just punch some holes in here. And we can put this in place. And I'll have to work this a bit as I'm welding it. To make sure that this sits flush all the way down. So I can play with moving this back and forth as I'm welding to help get that to line up. So now I just gotta get the welder fired up. Alright, so now I can go ahead and start tacking this down the length here. I'm not going to worry about this side at all right now, just this part here. Just to get it all sitting flush. So we'll look at the lowest spots and work on those first. It's harder to bring the low spots up than it is to push the high spots down. You can always tap it with a hammer to get it down, but you got to be able to flex it out. And if you tack the high spot, the parts that are good where this is low, then you might have trouble getting it out later. Now I know you should be wearing a welding helmet for this, of course. I always recommend it. In my case, I've been doing this for so long, I can actually lay a tack in, close my eyes, lay a tack in, and get it where I want it because of doing it for so many years. But if you're not that used to doing it, you can easily miss your spot. And of course, it's not good. You know, you will get sunburn on your face and stuff if you do a lot of it. So, don't do as I do. What they call an adjustable hammer. Alright. So just run a series of tacks down through there. And in this case, since I am butt welding these together, what I'll end up doing is just running another series of tacks in between all these. And I'll just keep running a series of tacks down through there until it's fully welded. Because it's on thin gauge like this, it's hard to just weld straight down. without burning through, especially with my welder the way it's been lately. And once I'm good and sure that all this is going to stay, then I can come back and weld all these plug welds too. Now that I will get the helmet out for. I know a lot of people really like to use the auto darkening helmets. I am just not used to using them. I'm pretty old school, and the fact that I now have bifocals, that small lens, I find difficult to use in automotive applications because you can't always get your head where you need it. Where this, you got a much bigger field of view. So all I gotta do is just keep welding until it's all done. Alright, so when you're welding like this, since you're just doing a series of tacks or just little 1/4 inch welds, you're going to end up with something that initially doesn't look that great. I mean, it's not going to because it's not a solid weld. But that's alright. It doesn't have to look that great as long as you got it fully welded and good penetration all the way through, because this is going to get ground off. So excess doesn't matter. You're more worried about just getting a good weld, connecting them all so there's no gaps, no pinholes, and which I do have a pinhole there I didn't see, and that you got good penetration and it's holding together well. So now one thing you have to keep in mind when you go to grind something like this, not so much on this particular piece here because of the structure that's there, but if it's an outer body piece where warpage can be a problem, you can cause just as much warpage grinding it as you can welding it if you let too much heat build up in while you're grinding. Now I like to make sure I don't grind too far. Don't take it all the way flat with the grinding wheel because you can cut into the metal too much. Then come back with either a sanding disc on that, or what's really good is a flap wheel, because that can actually remove the metal as fast as a grinding wheel and finish it off nice. But I like finishing it off with a right angle die grinder. Alright, now using a Scotch-Brite pad after you've used a sanding pad gives it a really nice final finish that's ready for primer. Well, that puts us at about 15 minutes already of video, so we're going to leave it off right there for now. And as always, if you like what I'm doing, Like, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, share with your friends, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when my videos come up. This is MG Rob. Later.